Hello, my name is Shinani. Today I'm going to show you guys how I made these Monstera leaf and Plumeria earrings. Make sure you watch it till the end. I'll be showing you another way you can attach earring post without glue. These are the colors I'll be using. I ran my background clay through the pasta machine on about 3mm thickness and green clay on the thinnest setting. To create the flowers, I conditioned the white clay and roll it into a snake. Then I cut tiny pieces from it. These are going to be the petals for the flowers, and I rolled them into tiny balls. Then I created a teardrop shape from these balls. To create one of these flowers, you need 5 of these teardrop shapes. Next, I press these teardrop shapes onto my working surface, which is a tile. To give dimension to the petals, I use this ball tool to kind of roll and stretch the end of the teardrop. I spread some cornstarch or corn flour on my fingers to prevent clay from sticking. Then I carefully lifted the petals and overlapped them in a half circle. Make sure you guys check out the description box for all the tools and supplies I use in this tutorial. To create the plumeria, I gently push the middle of the flower and overlap the first and the last petals. Then I pinch the bottom of the flower and cut off the excess. To create the Monstera leaves, I use a small heart-shaped cutter. Using a needle tool, I created the midrib, the middle vein of the leaf. Then I used a sharp X-Acto knife to carefully cut out the notches. I tried to be very random with these notches and to keep them very curvy. Then I used a dotting tool to add a couple of dots on this Monstera leaf. I used the same dotting tool to kind of refine the notches. Then I made a bunch of these Monstera leaves and a bunch of the Plumeria flowers. I think I made over 40 Plumeria flowers for this project. Next, I started placing my Plumerias and Monstera leaves onto the background clay. And I know many of you are curious if these 3D pieces stay put, if it falls off. They absolutely do stay put. If in doubt, just press your 3D pieces carefully into the clay a little bit. Plumerias actually reminds me of my home country Sri Lanka. When I visit, I always make sure to visit Buddhist temples. They are always filled with Plumerias, and not to mention they smell really nice. To give Plumerias its color, I use some soft pastels. I use yellow, red and orange. I concentrated orange and red mainly in the middle. I used a small soft bristled brush for this one. Plumerias come in many beautiful vibrant colors, but I think yellow and the orangey color is the most common one. I also decided to add some shading on the Monstera leaves with dark green soft pastels. Once the whole slab was done, I used my cookie cutters and 3D cutters to cut my earring components. This is fairly a small slab, so I only managed to cut 3 earrings off of this. Then I cleaned up the edges and used some alcohol and a cotton bud to clean up any dust or dog hair. Then I baked my pieces for about an hour in 225 Fahrenheit. I like to keep my temperature in between 225 to 250 since my oven is pretty old and it fluctuates. I recommend you bake a couple samples and figure out your ideal temperature and time. And I also created a small Monstera leaf as a component piece. After my pieces are cured and cooled down, I move on to sanding. I have a couple old videos explaining my sanding process, so if you're curious, make sure you check them out. On a side note, when polymer clay is cured properly, it should be flexible. When you bend it, it should not break and it should not be very hard. And I used my nail sander to add jump ring holes to the pieces. I finally figured it out. This attachment I saw is actually to clean up cuticles, but it works really well when drilling holes, and they drill really nice and even holes. Like in the last video, I'm going to show you guys another way to attach your ring post without glue. For this method, you're going to need Sculpey Bake and Bond. This is a bakeable adhesive, not liquid clay. I think they changed the packaging and this is a lot more thicker than liquid clay. So first I dip my earring post onto the liquid and attach it onto the clay component. Then I used a small silicone brush to scoop some of the liquid on the top of the post, and I let the liquid drip onto the side, blending it onto the clay. It's important that the liquid drip onto the side, covering the post, because it's going to create sort of a pocket so the post is enclosed in the bake and bond. Then I bake these pieces for about 15 minutes at 225 to 275 Fahrenheit. Here's a piece I did earlier. This technique is easy and it bakes translucent and the post isn't going anywhere. Then I added the jump rings and finished these pieces with a gloss varnish to seal the pastels. Since I ran out of my Sculpey gloss glaze, I tried this water-based polyurethane varnish to finish my pieces. And that is the end of this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. These will be available on my Etsy shop to purchase. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Handmade, and make sure you tag me on your creations so I can share them, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.